Hey, this is Don from Padlock Technologies again with another video. I don't know if you saw this shirt, but this is another ICE related or network access control related shirt. I have a knack for knack. Nerd levels on 9,000. I'll just keep bringing out more shirts as I do more videos, but I think I didn't show you this, so I wanted to show you this shirt. But today we're going to talk about firewalls. So I did another video about firewalls, did a couple videos about firewalls, and we mainly talked about the firewall itself. And what we're going to talk about today is how you can segment your FMC, just like segmenting a firewall or chopping up a firewall. Now you have a couple modes you can use. You can do multi-instance, or you can use VRF if you're just trying to split up the routing table. But that's on the firewall itself. On the FMC or the SMC, whatever you want to call it, they have this thing called domains. So when you use a different domain to segment the firewall management, what that basically is going to do, you're going to have a global domain that's just to see everything. And then you can create individual domains that will have its own firewalls tied to that domain. Now, why would you do that? Well, you would do that if you have some business critical firewalls that you do not want your juniors firewall or network engineers to be touching. Because if they make one mistake in that, you can potentially have a down business, which everybody's hair is on fire. And we like to call that a resume changing event. So, what you want to do is you may have some lesser critical firewalls that your junior guys can, or girls, or persons can, they can go ahead, make changes to the rules, stuff like that. Not really going to, bring the whole house on fire if they make a mistake. It will make some noise, but it's not going to be as much noise as if this was a business critical firewall, like an internal firewall to a production server farm. You mess that up, you can cause a lot of problems there. So what you would do is you would move all those business critical firewalls into a certain domain, and you would lock it down based on certain. You use ICE as a backend for external authentication, and then you'd have another domain with the lesser critical firewalls. You can use, ICE to do the external authentication there. And then if someone from another domain tries to log into the domain they don't have access to, they won't be able to get in there, right? And they'll only see their firewalls that is assigned to that domain. So what we're going to do in here is I'm going to show you in the lab what that looks like, and then this is like a corner case because not that many people are going to need to do this. But for someone that's trying to separate their firewalls from a management standpoint and make sure like only your senior level people can manage the real critical firewalls compared to your junior level people that needs to manage maybe a medium to low level firewall, this technique is for you. So let's go ahead in the lab and check it out. All right, so here's the firewall here. Now I'm going to log into the global domain first. Then we're going to log out. I'm going to show you how to log into each of the other domains. Okay. So I'm using ICE as the backend. So ICE is going to be authenticating to all the domains. So let's go ahead and log in here. I'll use something that's saved credentials. This is the global domain now. Now we are in the global domain, and you can tell that some of this stuff is old because once you move to, here's a tip. Don't do this after you deployed the firewall. Because a lot of this stuff right here is kind of old archived information, right? So you don't want to do this type of setup after you have deployed all your firewalls. You kind of want to do this setup before you even attach a firewall to the FMC. All right. And you'll notice something different from the global to the HQ. So what we're going to do here is, and the difference is the configuration option is no longer here. So if I went to devices, right, and we go to device management, you're going to see devices here, but I can't really do too much of anything, right? Because it's still under global, but as you can tell, it's saying my HQ domain has this firewall in it, and then my main domain has five firewalls in it. And the main domain, this tells you that this is under the domain. So I really can't do too much of anything anymore in the global domain, but it does have everything else. So if I went to click this tab here, or the cog, you see I have the configuration button here. Once we go into the other domains, this disappears. So you can't really do too much of anything in terms of the FMC configuration. So let's go down here to domains. So here are my two domains. We have our global domain and then we have our child domains. My HQ domain has my HQ firewall or internet firewall. And then my main domain, I just called it main domain just for the lab here, has the other 5 firewalls in there. So what's going to happen is when we want to go, since I'm in the global domain, I can go down to the other domains. When I sign out and I show you how to log into the other domains, you actually have to reference the domain. So when you log in with just your username and password, that automatically goes to the global domain. You have to put, it's almost like logging into Windows where you have to put the domain in there. Well, in the beginning when you have to put the domain in there /administrator when you want to add it to the network and stuff like that. But that's that's Windows stuff. So I don't want to get into a Windows conversation. But you see here we have HQ and main. All right. So from the global domain, if I wanted to go to HQ, I just click HQ here. It bounced me into HQ. So HQ has the one device. And if we go to overview and dashboard, we'll see same information, but this is only for the HQ iNet firewall. And then remember I told you, if I click this cog, you see configuration is completely missing. So I can't actually configure anything in the main domain that has to do with the entire firewall by itself. But everything else is just relatively the same here. If I went to policies and I go to access control, you see how it says target 0, target 0, target 0, target 0, target 0. That's because the only device that's in this domain is HQ iNet. Right? It's the only one that's in here. So it's going to say target 0 because it removed it from the global and put it in its own domain. So of course, in the HQ domain, since none of these firewalls are a part of the HQ domain, I have no targeted devices. Same thing from a NAT perspective. NAT rules everything 000, and then target is 1 because this is the only device that's in there. From a device management standpoint, as you can see, I only have one device. Now you saw the difference between the global domain and the HQ domain. The global domain had every firewall in it, right? But it told you what domain it was in. And now when we go to each domain, it shows the firewall that's been assigned to it. So then if I go to users here, now this one, you actually see it's in the HQ. This is an external authentication. It's basically been set up for this. So this is ICE HQ. And I can log out and log in. And I'll show you that in a minute. And let's go to main domain so you can see that. This is the default management. I'll just click on overview. And then this is everything for the other firewalls that are in the other domain. And I'll show you from a policy perspective. As you can see, 1, 1, 1, 1. You see HQ.net is 0. What else is there? Yeah, I don't think I added that in there. It's 0. So that's everything from a domain perspective, right? Now, again, who would use this? Either someone that's trying to segment the management of FTDs or someone that provides managed firewall services that want to split up their FMC to different customers, right? Something like what we would do, right? Now, normally I would probably use CDO for this instead of doing on-prem, but I just wanted to show you what it looked like in, the on-prem. This is a pretty advanced design. Most people don't need to do this, by the way. But if you're one of those people that fall into that little category of, hey, I want to split up the management based on my firewalls, this is for you. So now let's look at from logging in to its own domain. So I showed you that when I log in with my normal username and password, it automatically goes to the global domain, and then I can go from there. And that would be for your, level 3 and up personnel. But your junior guy, let's say if I wanted to log in, I would go HQ, then my name, and then the password here. So hopefully I didn't fat finger that. Yeah, I think I forgot the D. Now, that logged me directly into HQ. And if I hit this down arrow, I can't go to global. I'm stuck in HQ. So I can't move to main domain or HQ, right? And when you see that, and normally when you do this, you wouldn't see all these ACPs. This is because I converted it from global and created the 2 domains. So it actually starts pushing this stuff in there. So you wouldn't normally see this if you did the domains first and then added second. But from a device perspective, I go to devices, same thing. See the same device, I've got an overview, dashboard, same thing like when I went from global to one of the domains here. If I wanted to do site to sites, I would create my site to site, and that topology would be connected to this domain. Now, in the global domain, you can still see everything that's there. You'll just see what domain it's actually assigned to, but the configurations you would have to do in its respective domain. So we log out of this, and I believe I called it main domain. Hopefully that's right. Now I just configured this, so this may or may not work, but ICE is on the back end, like I said, authenticating this. So yes, so boom, we're back in main. If I click the down arrow, as you can see, I can't go back to global because I'm forced to go in main. And then everything else is just like I showed you in the HQ. All right. So this is domains in a nutshell. FMC domains, how to split the management of firewalls in its own. This is almost like you have a FMC inside an FMC. So you have your main FMC, but it's getting segmented out into multiple FMCs or virtual FMCs within the FMC to manage whatever boxes you want to apply to different domains. This is Don from Padlock Technologies. Again, this is a very advanced technique. Don't forget to share, comment, like, and subscribe. I hope this video was informative. If you are looking to get the secure firewall platform in your environment and you kind of don't know where to go, or you need an assessment on an environment that you already deployed, there's going to be a link in the description below. Let's talk, do a discovery call, and let's see if I can help you or not. Thank you, and have a nice day.